All right, let's go to Michigan for our first call tonight and talk with Dennis. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, doing great, sir. What's on your mind tonight?
Just recently watched your video on how much faith was enough for salvation, and you responded that since we're human, we're all going to likely have doubts or questions at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
And I guess that time for me is now. I'm kind of going through like a midlife crisis. I really hold strong to Christianity. I was raised that way all my life, and I recently asked my mother, "Why do you believe what you believe?" And her response, surprisingly, was just, I don't know. I just always have. It's what her parents taught her. And there's a lot of people around the world that believe the same way because their parents taught them that. So I was curious, why do you personally believe that Christianity is the one true religion?
Okay. All right. Great. Well, funny enough, Dennis, I've never been asked that on the air. It's certainly something that I've thought about hundreds of hours throughout my life at different eras, different time periods, but the first time an on-air caller has ever asked me that. So I'm excited to give you the answer. I mean, the biggest thing that I see is exactly what I major in on this broadcast, and that is the idea of grace. I mean, I look at Buddhism, I look at Hinduism, I look at Islam, I look at the world religions, and the one thing that is never present in any degree that's comparable to Christianity is the idea of grace. And so, you can look at this thing in 10 different flavors, if you will, the world's religions, but they all have in common, you do your part, you put in your effort, and you'll be rewarded. You don't do your part, you don't put in your effort, and you'll be punished. And so it's a punishment-reward system. It's B.F. Skinner applied to religion, and it's behaviorism applied to a religious self-improvement system, if you will. It's a system of punishment and reward. And that's why I believe it's human invention. It's literally a product of behavioristic thinking. I've never put it in those words before, but you look at how people tend to change from a human vantage point, how we tend to alter the behavior of those around us. What happens in the workplace? What happens in the school system? What happens in general in relating to people on this planet? There's usually a reward or punishment system. You do well and we'll reward you either with good grades or with a promotion at your work or with continued friendship. And if you fail us, if you don't perform well, then we will punish you with a demotion in the workplace, bad grades at school, or the silent treatment in a friendship, or downright abandonment. So this is very human. And when you look at that and survey the world religions, what you find is a founder and a book and a bunch of rules in so many cases that it just mimics this system. We add a deity in there trying to please the deity. We add a rule book, a rule system trying to get right and stay right. And then here comes Jesus. And he's just turning everything upside down. The last will be first, and the first will be last. And everybody who's worked all day sweating bullets out there in the field, well, they're not going to get paid any more than the guy who started an hour ago. What? They're not going to get paid any more than the guy who started an hour ago? The parable of the vineyard workers I'm referring to. And so everything is turned on its ear. We got to look at things backwards because suddenly the gospel is about what God did for us while we were still helpless, what God did for us, instead of what we're doing for God. So to me, that is the convincing point among all points. I mean, that to me is the bread and butter of why I believe Christianity is so different. Basically, adopt any other religion in the world and get busy trying. Try to get right and stay right and get closer and stay closer and get clear and stay clear and get righteous and stay righteous and you name it. That's what world religions bring us. But Jesus Christ, he says, well, by grace you are saved through faith. It's not of yourselves. It's a gift of God so that nobody can brag. Nobody should be at the end of the days going, well, look at what I did for you, God. Look at how I did this in your name and this in your name and this in your name. Apparently, those people get the boot. He says, depart from me. I didn't know you people. But it's the ones who say, Lord, look at what you did for me and what you did for me and what you did for me, so that your name would be glorified, not my name. And that is the proper attitude when approaching the true gospel message. And I believe it's the truth because I've seen, Dennis, I've seen what the world produces in its human effort. I've seen what I produce in human effort. And I just believe that grace has to be the way, because if God is perfect, and he has to be, God sets the mark for perfection. If God sets the mark, and if he's perfect, then how perfect would we need to be in order to arrive at his door and be acceptable to him? Well, we would have to be equally perfect, and that's exactly what the law in the Old Testament stresses. It's 613 bony fingers pointed at us saying, be perfect like God is perfect. Oh, wait a minute, you didn't do it. You fell short of the glory of God. Now what are you going to do? The law makes us conscious of our shortfalls. It highlights our need for rescue from somebody that is not us. And so that's why I believe grace is the way. Grace is what sets Christianity apart. Grace is what is different from all the world religions out there. So we can either get busy trying or get busy looking at the dying of Jesus Christ and putting our confidence in his death, burial, and resurrection. Instead of our trying, it's about his dying. Big difference. It's a trust relationship in what he accomplished when he said, it is finished, hanging on that cross, blood all over him. He said, it is finished. He knew he was doing what we could never do for ourselves. So, Dennis, I hope that gives you a more complete answer, and reach out to us again anytime, my friend. Great to hear from you.